focuses on helping you become not only a better player, but also learn how to play better. So I'm really excited for today's episode. It's episode number 10. We're already 10 episodes in. I'm super excited about that. And today's topic is going to be Brigitte, also known as Baguette, Brigitte, and various other names that we will probably discuss during the show as well. What is her actual name? Spoiler, it's Brigitte, but that aside, it's fun calling her other silly names. So we have a return guest on today. I'm excited to bring them on in a second to reintroduce them to you guys in case you have not seen him. Last episode, he was on for Zarya, and it was such a great episode that we went way over time because it was just so fun talking to him. So I'm excited to have him back on. And yeah, so if you yourself are a new or more average casual type of Overwatch player, maybe you're stuck in bronze, silver, gold, and competitive ranks, this is the talk show for you. We're going to give you a brief overview of the character, and then we're going to just dive into the meat of how to play better, tips and tricks from a high-level player, and just general discussion. If you have any questions, this is a chance to just live ask us questions, and we will answer them as we see them pop up. So this is definitely a very interactive show. Don't feel like you just need to sit there quietly. Please do talk to us and ask questions. So without further ado, I'm going to pop our intro video up and then bring our guest on. See you in a second.
Pump up the volume. Oh, this'll be good.
Grab your drink, take a seat, because it's definitely time to get on the point with your host, Malkarii.
I'll be watching over you.
All right, so without further ado, here's the guest. We have Arhath back with us today. Hello, Arhath. Thank you for coming back on.
Hello, guys. Yeah, nice. Thanks for having me, Mark. I enjoyed last time pretty much, and yeah, I'm excited to be here today.
Pretty much. I loved last time having you on. You're such a fun person to talk to, so it's excellent to have you back on for Brigitte.
That's, yeah, and it's also one of my favorite heroes, to be honest. Yeah, I enjoy playing
She's
it quite
great.
well.
She is great. She is an awesome hero. So before we dive into the awesomeness of Brigitte, though, for those that maybe aren't aware or maybe they weren't here last time you were on, who is Arhath? What do you do? Why are you qualified to speak about any hero? Tell us about yourself.
Okay, why I'm qualified, I'm not quite sure. No, but seriously, I started coaching like half a year ago. I'm personally a Grandmaster player, Grandmaster Plus. I can play a variety of heroes, but I'm like a tank player. And since half a year, I'm like coach for the Aztec Warriors Overwatch team based in South Arabia. Yeah, and we have like several EU top 10 players in the roster. And yeah, I think I know my way around the game a bit. I played
Just
it since close beta. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's great working with some of the like you said, top 10 EU players. I might ask you a couple questions later on what that's like, what their attitudes are, and how easy or difficult it might be working with them as the coach for their team. And now, you can comment on it now if you want.
Honestly, just two comments. We have two 15-year-old players. Who are actually the best talents in our team, I would say.
Wait,
they are like they are
15
year olds. Yeah, and they're like 4.6k peak. One of them is always like a top 10.
Wow.
And they are basically the hardest working guys on the team. You won't believe it. Everyone else, they have the least ego problems. And the rest is just in any team it can get a bit.
I love that. That is fantastic. 15-year-old kid, yes, it's a teenager, but basically a kid compared to an old person like me. Knowing that they can work hard enough, put the work in, be a top 10 player, makes me feel really bad about my own skills. Kidding, it doesn't. But no, it just makes me really proud, and it just shows that just in video games and esports and all this type of thing, are great. I mean, imagine the focus this kid, for example, has like for his schoolwork. If he can focus that much on this and like be as well as he can be, I assume he's really good with his studies as well. So
I
gaming,
hope so. Yeah.
I hope so. Or maybe he's just
I
not.
hope
Maybe he's not going to school. Maybe that's why he's top 10. He's just at home playing video games. Who knows? But yeah, no, that's fantastic. Having that focus to be that top tier at the age of 15. That's amazing.
Yeah, they are. To be honest, I'm not that good. Like they're really talented. I have to say. Like, okay.
All right, so before we hop in, I just want to say hi to, we have Chitataku, we have Xanderkin, we have Inira, and of course, Totally Drunk. Thank you guys for being here. And for everyone else that's lurking, that's fine. You don't need to talk. I just want to say I appreciate you being here. And be sure to ask your questions regarding Brigitte or even questions about, this is a coach that we have here, Grandmaster player, a coach. So if you have any questions regarding that type of thing as well, we can help you out with that too.
Yeah,
right.
I'm glad to answer anything. Like anything that I can answer. Like
okay. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Actually, everyone says no, but for me it's a yes. I have to say, like, I love pineapple on pizza.
Me too. It's great. It's fantastic. And for anyone watching, if you don't like pineapples on pizza, get out, leave. I'm just kidding. I love people who don't love pineapple on pizza because that means more for me. More for me. Boom.
It's okay. It's like
I don't need to share. All right, so guys, make sure you're following Arhath on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. I have his info on the screen, so make sure you give him some follows. And also follow the BeLive Twitch channel. If you're not doing that yet, fix it now. Smack that follow button, high five it. And yeah, there's some great content coming on this channel soon, so it's definitely worth a follow.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter, Arhath Go, if you want to see more. Like, I plan to do more things, like in the future, like where I put out content. So yeah, if you're interested, maybe enjoy that.
Excellent. Yeah, get some follow love on the Twitters there. All right, so Brigitte. So she is a support, but she's also considered an off tank. And I'm excited to get into that aspect more. But typically, as far as Overwatch is concerned, she's a support hero. Really, she can do all the things, but she's in the support category. So let's talk about just a basic ability overview. We're not going to spend too much time because anyone can just Google this, look it up. But let's talk about her abilities. What is her toolkit? I'll let you start.
Okay, so basically, her first ability is like just her normal attack, her rocket flail. It's like, she can swing it around. It has a bit more range than Reinhardt's attack, actually. So you can stay out of Reinhardt's attack with it. And that's just it. Like, you can just swing it around nonstop. Her second ability is like her E skill. It's called Repair Pack, and it just throws an 150 HP health to a nearby ally. And it can overheal them by like 75 armor. Like that's important.
It turns into armor, which is fantastic. Yeah. That the healing isn't wasted. And then and then I just want to mention that her Inspire isn't really an ability; it's a passive thing. So as she's attacking enemies, she's passively getting healed. So that's one of the reasons why she's so strong. It's really hard to kill her, especially if she's smashing you in the face because it's healing her. And then whip shot. If you want to talk about that.
Sorry. Whip shot, I just was looking at the camera. Whip shot, it's basically you can. It's the only ability that goes beyond melee range. It's like where you extend your auto attack and just hit them for 70 damage and boop them. That's also really useful sometimes. And then to round it off, you have like first of all your ulti. It works a bit like your passive where you AoE heal people, but instead of giving them actual health, you generate armor on them, and that basically goes above their max health. So that's pretty nice and unique about her. And lastly, she has the shield. That's what makes her like also an off tank sometimes. Because I mean, she's a support. She has pretty low HP, but high for a support, and she has a 500 HP shield. So she's pretty tanky on her own. Yeah.
Yeah, so her shield, she has another ability, is a shield bash. You can stun someone with shield. And I'll talk about more of this later, but you can actually use that shield bash ability to move quicker across the map. You don't just have to use it for smashing people. One thing I want to mention about her ultimate ability, I know we spoke about this last episode a little bit with Totem, but her ultimate ability is changing in how it works a little bit. Currently, Rally is what it's called. Rally gives your team just like a bunch of extra armor, and right now live in the game that armor stays until it's damaged off, but they're changing it currently on the PTR where that extra armor you get from Brigitte's rally ultimate is that it will fall away after 30 seconds. So it's basically similar to Lucio's ultimate, where you get that extra health pool that just immediately starts depleting after a little bit. Similar to Brigitte, that will deplete if not used. So 30 seconds is when you're going to get it. So that's currently on the PTR. It's not live yet, as far as I know, but it will be soon. So it's still really strong. She's still really great, but just a little bit of change of how that works.
Yeah, we can talk about that a bit later. To be honest, the patch will have quite some impact on Brigitte, but I think she's still fine to play. To be honest, especially in like the public.
She's still powerful, and people know she's powerful, and a lot of people play her and play her well. But if you don't play her well, then she's not that great. But that's why we're here to help you today, learn how to play her better. And then Cheeto is asking, Arhath, do you live in a pineapple under the sea?
Yes, actually I do. I'm SpongeBob, if you don't know, like
real life SpongeBob.
I have a costume. I have a yellow costume, and every day I go out, I dress up like this. You discovered my secret.
I really want to believe that's true, because that would be awesome. And then one more thing I mentioned about Brigitte is that as far as support heroes go, she has the biggest health pool between her just regular health and then the armor she has on her by default, and then the shield also. I think it's a 500 HP shield, so it's a decent shield. So she's she's pretty hefty in herself. And of course, being able to heal herself just by attacking, she's great. She's strong,
especially in these slower skirmish situations where you have only like 2 or 3 people fighting against each other, like 2 on the one team, 3 or 2 on the other team. Then her HP pool is like pretty high. Like she isn't that tanky if you go at her with the full team, but in these situations she can also be like a real tank. Sometimes.
Yeah, if needed. Oh yeah, the times I've played Brigitte where the tank has died, and like I've just been there, like, okay, I'll stand in front of people and help. Yeah, she's great. So she has weaknesses though, just like any other hero she does. So let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses of Brigitte. Actually, wait, before I hop into that, I forgot. Super important thing, guys. Not the most important thing of this episode, but something really important is the loot box giveaway. So just be active in chat, be friendly to everyone else, ask us questions, just be present during this show, and you could win some loot boxes at the end. I'm paying attention to chat. I'm not using a bot to that you can enter and be picked at random. You actually have to be active, and I, with my own eyeballs, I'm paying attention, and I will see who's been chatting. And if I need to take a closer look, I have my reading glasses on me. But just be here, be present. This episode will probably go a little bit longer because Arhath is such a great guest. But we're aiming for about 40-ish minutes. That's the goal. So it's not that long. Just hang out, chat, be friendly, ask questions, and you can win some loot boxes. All right. So let's dive into those strengths and weaknesses. I'll let you start.
So, about the strength, about her weaknesses, like, first of all, before I talk about what she's good at, I want to talk about what she absolutely can't do, and that's snipers. Like, it's a bit like Zarya, but in this case, it's even more severe. I mean, you have a shield this time, right? You can just hide, but she can absolutely not deal with snipers well, because they are out of her range. Everything that's long range, she cannot deal with, except for, like, covering behind the shield, basically just ignoring it. And that's, I would say, her biggest weakness. The next thing, to be honest, there aren't really other weaknesses to Brigitte, because like she's so strong against any hero in one-on-one, I would say. There's more like situations where she's not useful, like I don't know if you were in the situation, like usually if you're sticking in the middle of your whole team, you have the feeling that like you can do a lot, you can do a lot. Your AoE heal is hitting everyone, and basically, if someone is about to die, you just heal them back up. And when an enemy jumps into your team, you just CC them and he dies. So that's basically the idea about Brigitte. And but what she cannot do is like she cannot help her team get anywhere. Like she's just basically the buffer inside of the team that keeps them safe.
Yeah, she's good at she's a space maker. She can make a little bit of space, but like that's she can't do too much beyond that. But she's good at get away type thing.
Yeah, especially now that they changed her shield bash, right? Like before the last patch, Brigitte had like massive burst damage with her 50 damage from shield bash, then 70 damage from rocket flail, and then 1-2 attacks. You could almost one-shot like 150 HP heroes consistently, and now that's pretty much gone. So I think you're forced more into a support type of role because before that, people thought she was like a real flanker, and now I think she's much more of a support where she belongs to. Like, yeah. So, okay, I mean, we summed it up a bit, but I just want to say, like, the specific things where she's really good at is actually she's good at defeating flankers. Like, that's her main purpose, I think.
Yes, peeling off, dealing with the flankers, absolutely. Yeah. Have that shield at the ready, hide around a corner, smash them when they come in. Such a Tracer. She's a good shutdown for Tracer.
Yes, she's excellent against Tracer and also Genji. You know, like Genji, Reaper, Tracer, all of the heroes, even Sombra, because it's not easy to hack Brigitte, and even if you do, she can still hit you and maybe get win the trade. You know, that's a bit scary sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for other strengths that we have here, she's good in melee. Like, you don't want to be in a closed space with Brigitte. She will finish you pretty quickly. If there's a wall behind you, you can't move. You're stuck. You're gonna die.
Yeah,
so that's what's gonna happen.
I think there's only like one hero where you can actually say you can ignore it, and that would be Reinhardt. You know, but even Reinhardt, he can just be disengaged. You know, Brigitte can just stun him, flail him away, and then he cannot do anything. But other than that, you don't want to be in close space with Brigitte. Really, yeah, she will win that.
I think both the strength and weakness of Brigitte is that she is melee. So, for example, a hero like Pharah, Brigitte can't do anything unless for some reason Pharah's walking around on the ground. So, for example, if a Sombra, hacks Pharah can't fly up, and then you can come in with Brigitte and do something. But yeah, Pharah is just, you can't.
That's too. I forgot about that's like nightmare stuff, you know. Like usually when you play Brigitte against Pharah, you're just like, oh, where she's shooting rockets at, you know. Like you're trying to heal whoever she tries to kill. That can be annoying for the Pharah, but other than that, unless the Pharah gets like point blank, you will never be able to hit her. Actually, like that's just no way.
Yeah. Let's see if someone else helping you, like a Roadhog pulling Pharah down or something, just to get her in your range. If she's in your range, then you can get her. You can stun her and then like smack her, do the combo, and hopefully kill her. Yeah, Pharah's a pest. But I see this on every episode for every hero. Pharah is a pest for everybody. Like, she's just so frustrating to play against unless you know how to counter her really well. She's frustrating.
Yeah, that's true. Like, Ashe is pretty good against her, you know, like every sniper is. But if she gets pocketed by Mercy, everyone has to actually respect Pharah at least a bit. Because, like, she can kill you. Yeah, just a little bit. Most likely, you will die in 2 hits anyway, so...
Yeah. Now, are there any other perks, any strengths of Brigitte that you can think of at the moment?
Let me think. Okay, basically, like the most outstanding thing is she's the highest health support in the game. Like with her shield, especially, like she has 250 HP. 50 of that it's armor, and then 500 on top of that it's her shield. That's like her biggest kit is like she's tanky. And then I would say she's the best 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3 hero in the game. You know, like she isn't that powerful in full teamfight situations, unless we're talking all tank stacks. But she's really, really, really strong once you, like some of them die, some of you die. When you have still have Brigitte and it's like 3-on-3, you will most likely win because like she's too tanky. They cannot burst you. And you have AoE heal. You will hit most of your teammates, and you can just CC them for better damage and like
And your flail it's an AoE. It's like a cone in front of you, so you're not just hitting one person at a time. Like if you had a gun, you're just smashing people.
Yeah, if they stay close together, they will regret it a lot. Like they will just straight up get fucked.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about the next exciting part is team compositions. Which heroes she works well with? What is a good composition to have Brigitte in?
Okay, so in my opinion, there's currently like also if you talk like pro-wise, there's only like 3 real setups where you play Brigitte. First of all, it's like this ghost setup where you have like everyone is talking about it right now. Like it's like you have 3 tanks, you have 3 supports, and you just straight out run over the enemy team with Reinhardt, Zarya, backed up by Lucio, Brigitte basically, and the Zenyatta. Yeah. That's like one composition where she's really good at. The other composition I would say is triple support in general. Like a big part of the squads also is just having like Lucio, Brigitte, and Zenyatta working together. You know, you rarely see that in pub games, but that's like where the team composition where she's best at right now. How I play her personally, I will pick her into like duo healer setups with Ana. Like Brigitte isn't the best main healer in the game right now. She has good heal output, but you need a solid main healer. So I want to have an Ana or like sometimes Mercy in front of me, you know, like who can do the healing and I'm doing the rescuing, basically. Like that's how I think about it.
Yeah. Pairing up with a main healer is a great synergy with that for sure.
So other than that, I would say just pack her behind the Reinhardt. That also always works because like Reinhardt is great cover for you. And whenever someone tries to attack the Reinhardt in closer range, you can help him. I would say, to be honest, that's like the best team composition. Then you have like smaller synergies, you know, like the lame stuff. Let's talk about McCree, for example. I mean, have you ever at the moment where you had McCree and Brigitte in the enemy team? I think everyone experienced that. Like
yes, the stuns.
If one of them stuns you, the other one stuns you. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just you straight up die. And I think they're like these little cheese compositions with Roadhog and McCree, for example, where you can pair Brigitte, and it's like really, really good.
Excellent. So unless there's any other things on competitions, weaknesses, strengths, I'm excited to dive into the meat of the show, the tips and tricks. But is there any other like foundations that you want to lay out before we get into gameplay and how to improve?
I will elaborate a bit more on that in the tips and tricks section. But like the biggest weakness for Brigitte is like losing oversight of a fight or like misusing your skills, because all of your skills are like on a pretty high cooldown. Like not that high, but it's like around the 10-second mark. And if you misuse your skills, oftentimes you don't have the mobility. You cannot do anything, because I mean you're a tank or support. If you cannot do anything, you won't do damage. You won't do damage like McCree. You cannot go and headshot people. So it's all about like positioning and timing your skills right, basically. Of
course, yeah. Now, before we dive into the tips and tricks, let me double check. Do we have any questions in chat? Oh, Empress Laurasaurus is saying that you notice that she is far easier to play now and requires more skill after the nerf. Definitely, because her abilities are being changed, the way armor is being changed. You need to be more strategic with when and how you use that. Absolutely. Let's see here. And then, sorry, Dot. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm going to call you Dot. I'm just going to call you Dot for short. Do you think Brigitte needs to farm the tanks? Interesting chat going on. Let's dive into tips and tricks and see what Arhath thinks and all that. So this is where, because I mean, I am not a skilled Brigitte player, not like you anyways. I know the basics of Brigitte. I know like the basic mindset you need to have when you play her, but I want you to basically lead this tips and tricks section. I can definitely throw my input in as needed, but like you are definitely the more skilled Brigitte player between the two of us. So
I hope so. I'm not actually quite sure. Maybe not. But okay.
So in the mindset of helping a newer or lesser skilled player improve on Brigitte, my first question for you though is like, what is the main mistake of a new Brigitte or inexperienced Brigitte player would make? What's like the main issue?
I think the main issue is really losing oversight. Losing oversight, it's like the thing when you play a support, especially a support that's playing in the melee ranks, right? You're oftentimes in mid. You're not far in the back lane, but you're playing in the middle field or in the melee field, like for a short time. You can lose oversight of your second support. Maybe it's Anna who's standing far in the back, and you ignore her. Basically, that's like one of the main issues I've seen. And that's the thing I want to start with. Like, in my opinion, the best thing you can do if you play Brigitte right now is, first of all, notice she's not the damage dealer she used to be, right? So you can't just go out there and kill people. And that forces her in a more passive role. Like, you're now a utility character with strong AoE heal and a good burst heal. That's first of all what you need to like have in mind. So the thing is, when I go into the game, the first thing I would do is I press tab. Like that's a tip I give every new player in the game, because like a lot of players, they don't look at their own team, right? And then they don't know what they actually play with. They notice this throughout the game, you know. Oh, I have a Winston, you know. But you should know that before the game actually starts. Like, just press the tab key, look at your team, and then you see, who do I actually play with? And that's like for Brigitte, you want to know what are my carries, because if you have Genji, it's an excellent target to support. And if you have like a second healer like Ana or Zenyatta, that's also a priority for yourself, right? I mean, yeah. What do you think about, like, how do you approach Brigitte in general?
Yeah, so I just want to dive into what you just said. Pressing tab, seeing who you have on your team is so relevant to any hero you play. That's a habit like I got into right on, but I know a lot of people don't. They just kind of like they choose what they want to play, and then they just run in and like sure they'll see some of their fellow allies like running. Oh yeah, like I can see we have a Zarya, but like seeing the full roster and knowing who you best work with is the first step on how to improve.
Yes.
With Brigitte, I mean, my mindset with her is like you're supporting your team in what they need in at that moment. So if your team needs a more off-tanky type person, be that role. If your team needs, if you have flankers, your team needs you to like peel off and help with that, do that. If you're the other healer, or let's see, like you said again, certain characters need a buddy to hold hands with, to help them out, to make space for them. Like you just need to know who you're playing with, and then that helps your mindset right from the get-go. You know what you have going with you. So she's a very versatile character.
Yes, that's absolutely true. I think Brigitte can play about like 4 play styles, and I don't want to elaborate too much on that right now, but what you said right now, it's absolutely true. And you have to look at your team. If you play like in a triple support setup, you want to be more of an aggressive hero, more of a tank-like utility person. If you play only 2 supports and you are one of these 2 supports, you want to be more of a support, like focus on not dying, because not dying is really important as support, and just keep everyone alive. Like that's the mindset difference you have to make based game on game, situation on situation. And that's my first tip. Like, know who you play with, and then don't be over aggressive right now, because damage got nerfed. You have to play more as a healer. So I think we can go right to the second tip, because that's really it. Like this oversight. How does this actually work? Because what a lot of people don't understand, there's a concept like I call it interlocking. Like when you are fighting someone on the enemy team, you are interlocked with that person. Like you don't have 100% of focus. You're focusing on winning that fight with the person, and not on much else. And that's really important, because a lot of times you play Brigitte, if you're chasing like a Winston, you will basically interlock with him, and you will lose sight of the rest of the stuff. Like that's just how you approach the game. Like don't go off and chase targets. Just stay in the middle of the pack. Stay in the middle of the pack. Back off if you don't need to chase, and keep playing that support role instead of trying to brawl it out all the time.
Yeah, this is true for basically any hero you play, but especially for Brigitte, you need to have great situational awareness. See what's going on around you, see where you are needed most at that moment, and adjust your playstyle accordingly. Like that's like top-notch for you to tip right there. Write it down, everybody. So yeah, that's pay attention, situational awareness.
A lot of people underestimate this so heavily. Like they are like, oh, that sniper could kill me right now. But in reality, that sniper is just fighting with 3 other guys, and he will not notice you oftentimes. If you're coming into the fight, he will be focused on fighting these other guys. And yeah, that's just one of the general tips. And it really works for anything. So a more Brigitte specific tip is, like, I think the biggest issue people actually have is overusing her E skill. Like the E skill, it's this 150 HP burst heal, like that you can throw on other people. And I do that mistake a lot myself too. Like whenever I do that mistake, I actually correct myself immediately, because it's like really, really bad to do. When I see a tank dropping a bit low, after playing too much Brigitte, I will just throw my health pack onto the tank, even though that tank might be Reinhardt. He just took 100 or 200 damage, and he has like a 2000 shield. You don't need to heal him, actually, Like you're just using your heal basically because you think you need to use it like that. And what you should do instead is, when it's just a tank that gets poked a bit, ignore him. Like don't heal him. Unless he's really the only one. For example, Winston, he's the only one right now in the fight, then you need to heal him. But other than that, just wait 2 or 3 seconds. Most of the time, someone in your DPS or support line will take heavy damage, and then you want to heal them, actually. That's my biggest tip. Like wait with your E. If you and there's a really, really small tip how you can improve on that. It's just whenever you see someone dying because you waited too long for your E, you waited too long. Whenever you see like you healed the tank, and then someone else is dying immediately right after, you just wasted it on the tank, basically. That's like how you get better over the course of, I would say, 10-20 games. Just play it and think about it, and you will get better. easily.
Absolutely. And like this can be for like any hero, like any of those abilities that have a cooldown time on them. What you want to do before using that ability is think, like a few seconds ahead or however long the cooldown is of the specific ability. If it's a 10-second cooldown, think, okay, will I need this in 10 seconds? In the next 10 seconds, will I need this again for a more important target? So always think ahead before panic, smashing buttons. Oh God, this person needs heals. Maybe they don't necessarily need heals at that moment. That the Mercy that's about to die needs it more type thing. So just, always plan ahead. Do you need this in the next few seconds?
And there's also like, I think another good tip is all of your abilities are basically like the passive is AoE, right? And the ulti is AoE too. So the best tip I can give new players especially is like stay with a lot of people, stay grouped with a lot of people. Don't try to go on solo adventures like flanking and stuff. That's nice. Like you can do it sometimes, but most of the fight you want to have 2 or 3 people around you so they can benefit from your AoE healing. And also when you pop your ulti, they get all the nice armor buff, and it's basically like a one team fight just from your ulti. So the thing is, especially with Brigitte, I think a lot of people underestimate how much of a bodyguard she can be. Like you only talk about this. Oh, you stun someone and you kill them with the Brigitte. But what you can actually do is like take your McCree, for example. You can just hack your McCree, and now he's unbeatable, right? Because he has long range damage. You don't have that, but you can defend against anything that comes up close to the McCree and can defeat him. So basically, for Brigitte, team up with other heroes. That's a really nice tip.
Good tip. 1 second. I'm gonna reload my camera here. It looks like I am a black box. So 1 second, I'm gonna pop myself out and back in. That did not fix it. Let me just totally disconnect it and There we go. Okay, sorry about that, guys. A little glitch on my end. My computer's being unhappy with me right now.
Okay. Well, is it working now?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. We're good to go. All right. Sorry about that.
Okay. No problem. Yeah. So so in general, like most of it really comes down to having oversight of the fight. Like don't let yourself get dragged into the middle of the melee fight. Whenever you like, a good tip in general is whenever you do something more than 3 or 5 seconds and it's the same thing, you're probably doing it wrong. Because like either like imagine it, every hero in Overwatch will die like in that time. If you spend more of the time, like you're basically overseeing stuff, like that's a good tip in general. Switch your focus a lot. Like at first you're defending that Genji, okay, but now he's gone, right? Like you're defending your support from that Genji. Now that Genji is gone, a lot of players will run after the Genji, but instead what you want to do is like maybe he's not even killable. Like just ignore him. He's gone right now. Focus on the next threat. Maybe there's a Winston jumping on your carry. Like you need to go there, and that's like how you play Brigitte. You are like on this ready standby mode, where you try to predict what the enemy team is going to do, and then you're just going task by task by task by task. You're working on all the small things, to actually eventually win the game.
And that's a good thing to remember. A good point you made in your previous statement and this one is with Brigitte, yes, she herself is strong. She has a lot of health and armor and her shield. And it's tempting to like flank or go chase after things, but that is not your role. That is not, because like you mentioned, you heal people around you passively just by, like attacking and whatnot. So you want to be near your team. Yeah. So always be near them. And no matter what, like your goal is to make space for your team, make people run off type stuff or stun them so your team can help kill them quicker or you can kill them yourself. Do not run off from your team. Brigitte is not a solo character. If you want to play a solo character, if you want to flank, go play Reaper or something, but not Brigitte. She's not made for that. Especially not anymore since the last patch, like when the damage got nerfed. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because they used to do 50. I think her shield used to do 50 damage. Now it does 5 damage. That is a significant drop in damage. So she's definitely not a good solo character. And Empress Lorosaurus mentioned Brigitte's checklist. That's exactly what it is. Okay, this is done. What's next? Okay, let's do that. All right, let's do this. That's exactly the way to picture it. Yeah, just stay with your team, scare people off, heal them, and you're good to go. Yeah, that's exactly how we want to play right now. And I have to say,
I played Brigitte a lot around, like, let's say 3K games this season. Like, let's say Plat to 3K, just on my second account with people. And I had like over 80% win ratio because everyone stopped playing Brigitte, you know? Everyone really stopped playing Brigitte, and she's still strong. We have to see the next patch because the next patch is actually hitting a bit on her strengths. I mean, it's fair because the hero is still really strong, especially in these row setups. But yeah, that's about it. I think the hero is still in a great place, and now it's more of a support instead of the powerhouse, like the broken powerhouse that she used to be.
Yeah, now she's still a powerhouse, just not as broken.
Yes, now she's more of a, like, it's a bit more tame and a bit more fair, I think, for the enemy team, because like the stun was just way too good.
Playing against her is brutal. Still is. It still is brutal. Even like that stun, no matter how brief, no matter how little, like if she has, like, because Brigitte should always be with people. So if she's stunning you, she should have another like damager with her that can also help kill you really quickly.
Yes,
so
exactly.
even though the shield does less damage, you're likely going to die if you're stunned.
Yeah. So I think there's another section we should talk about, and that's really you can shield a lot right now. There's one thing in general for newer players I would advise, and that's like, don't let your shield break, right? Like a lot of people, they just shield, and then the shield is at 50 HP and they let it break. And it's really important never to let your shield break. When it's at 50 HP, just take it down. These 50 HP usually don't matter, but what matters is you can always pull that 1 HP shield out of your pocket and shield the full Diva Bomb. Because like no matter how much health your shield has left, you can still shield one full hit damage instance, and also you can still use your shield bash, right? And that's a really big tip, because if that's the same for Reinhardt actually. If you see the enemy Reinhardt, his shield is broken, you can immediately just Diva Bomb, because he will not be able to shield it. That's why every good Reinhardt player, you will never see them lose their shield actually. Same for Brigitte.
Yeah, for those that aren't aware, when your shield is broken, like it takes a bit to regen before you can pop it back up again. So you're fully just like bare open for whatever might be coming in. So do not let that shield break. And that's so cool that even a 1 HP shield can fully deflect a Diva ultimate. That's pretty powerful. So keep that in mind. Do not let your shield disappear.
That's true. And then, yeah. Besides, if you totally have to, like there are situations where you're just 2 HP and there's no way you can do anything about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the next tip about the shield is what you want to do is whenever you feel you are low on HP. Right now, what I'm doing is I shield a lot. Like when let's say I hop into a game and I'm on defense, oftentimes I will just hang out in the middle of the pack, not even trying to kill the enemy guys. I will just see for a good target to heal, and then I will shield the enemy snipers, right? I will just shield the enemy snipers a lot, like drop my shield, move around a bit, just shield again. And I do this a lot when I duel other people, right? What you want to do is, when you are at half HP, for example, and you know they are just pressuring you too much, you just hit them once. This triggers your passive, right? This triggers your AoE passive. And then you just put your shield back up and you kite them backwards, right? You kite them backwards, maybe 2 seconds later you hit them again, just refresh that buff. And then you just shield back, you know, you just shield. And that's like a 500 HP buffer, your HP gets healed in the background. And you can also stall for your cooldowns. Like that's the most important thing. You can stall for your cooldowns, because when you don't have the bash, people will try to jump you. And you can save your life by just putting back your shield and just walking back, basically.
Exactly, and that's definitely an error that a lot of newer or inexperienced Brigade players make. They panic. They're fighting someone. They think, oh yeah, I just need to kill them. I just need to flail them, forgetting about the shield and being able to heal yourself up behind it or letting your cooldowns reset. That is huge. Once you learn how to utilize that shield, you're immediately going to be a better Brigade player.
Yes. So I think that's like at least for like how to shield and how to heal. Like that's I think all the tips I want to give right now. But there's actually some more tips. Let's talk about her ulti, for example. I think her ulti is a really good skill in itself. It can work on your own. Like you can use it in one-on-one situations. But the best tip I can give about this is just use it as the fight starts. Right? Whenever you know, like don't use it too much before, like too ahead or too late, but use it like in a 3 or 5 second window, like either before the fight starts or when you are in the middle of the fight, and there's like at least 3 or 4 people around you. Like that's the maximum value you can get out of the ulti, because then all of your team will be bulking up, you will be running into them, and you will get 30% movement speed also, because I mean you are a melee hero, you can be faster into their face, and that's basically when you ulti. As a mistake to avoid, I would say a lot of times when the fight is over, newer Brigitte player try to ulti to save it. You can do that, but only if you absolutely know what to do. Other than that, just save it for the next fight. Just go die, save it for the next fight, regroup, you have that ulti, you can win the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, the way I view her ultimate, because I play Lucio a lot, and now with the change coming to ultimate, where it's going to be kind of similar with the time limit on how long it lasts. I always wait for that moment where I know a lot of damage is about to come in, or popping into a huge team fight, and you just want that immediate boost because their team has ultimates ready to go. So it's good to with any ultimate, timing is key, but especially with ultimates that involve armor or having more health. Those are even more you really need to time it correctly. Don't waste it. It's not a good panic button to slam, because when you panic, that's usually what the time you make the worst decisions on your abilities. You need to pre-plan, know exactly when a good time to use it is, and eventually it'll become second nature, and you won't even need to think about it anymore. But really think about it as a newer player. Think about it. Is this the best time to use this? Again, because of pre-planning, you know what's about to happen. Pay attention to the other team's ultimate abilities. Communicate with your team members. Hey, Reaper just killed me. I saw that he has his ultimate available. Just a heads up, type thing. Let them know and plan for it.
That's actually excellent. If you're just starting out, whenever you have time, just press your tab key. Look at your scoreboard. You will see what teammate has, what ultis are ready for your team, and you can plan your next fight a bit better. If you can do that, when you have free time and nothing else to do, you will be a better player in no time, because next fight my Zenyatta can trance. That means you can go a bit more aggressive and take risks that you usually can't take, right? And that's the same with Brigitte. And with every hero, what are your killing ultis, what are your defensive ultis, and stuff like this. Yeah, the thing is, on Brigitte, what I want to give right now, what I want to give you guys right now, is a general oversight on how I approach a game right now, because I think that might actually be helpful. I think it works in every rank, and it's the free, just a general guideline on what to do. If you're okay with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So as a grandmaster player, what is your step by step? What do you do with Brigitte?
First of all, my routine, like I said, I will just check my team. I will often check my team. What do they have? Okay. Then when I go into the fight, I will just sit back a bit. Either I have a rush plan in mind, but usually I will just sit back and see what my team is doing. Then I will maybe heal someone, creep a bit into the front line and try to get into a better position. And most important, I have a guideline on every skill and how to use them. So for my shield, it's I will avoid spam damage. That's really important. I will avoid stuff like Junkrat grenades and stuff. I will not try to shield that. If it's not aimed at anyone directly, I will just avoid that it passes so my shield has more HP. That's really important. And whenever I see someone in my team that needs help, I will jump to them. Oftentimes also using my shield bash. I use my shield bash because I'm too far away sometimes to jump in front of them and just shield for them. Maybe hit one time for the passive heal and then just shield and get them out. That's the kind of Captain America savior moves you can do with her.
I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the shield bash can be used for just basic movement, getting around quicker as well. A lot of people forget that. They think, it's just for bashing people. No, you can scooch.
Yes, and it's also a great retreat tool. A lot of people forget about that too. Yep. Whenever you are running away, really running away, not just this kiting backward a bit, coming back, whenever you're fully running away, just turn around, shield bash into the other direction, turn around again, and just, start shielding again if you need it. You will have immediately 5 or 10 meter distance between you and the enemy, and you can just use that to escape a lot of times.
Yep.
So my routine for my E skill, the repair pack that burst heals, is actually it's quite easy. I just wait for good targets. It's never a waste to put it on a low HP target that's in focus fire, and that's all about it. I try not to overheal my tanks with it. I try not to waste it on people that don't need it. Just wait for them. If I see the Genji is calling for his ulti, he's jumping in. I will focus on him because I know he will get a lot of damage. I will just heal him 1 second after he took damage, and then he's back to full HP. And that's my routine on that. Another thing, whenever a game starts and we have a sniper in the team, I will overheal the sniper when I know they are going for a jump shot, because that's imagine Temple of Anubis. You are the attacking team. Your sniper's always jumping up the gate, the first big gate. Everyone knows that, and he will be in a duel with the enemy sniper if they have one. So I will overheal him, because the overheal will the duration is actually 6 seconds, and that's exactly the cooldown of your skill. So I do that like I have my skill back. I just overheal him, and 3 seconds later I will have my skill back. And if he duels an enemy sniper, he will actually have more HP and maybe survives the duel. Like that's really important.
Yeah, it overlaps a bit, which is really helpful.
Yeah. You can just that's like a start of the game move. Like whenever like someone is trying to dive, like a Genji is just peeking out there, seeing what comes, you can just heal them so that they don't die in their scouting. Like that's really helpful.
Absolutely.
So my whip shot, oh my god, this ability is actually really great because like the whip shot is the only ability that has like a medium to longer range. I mean, Brigitte is pretty melee, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you can just slap someone in the face with it and say, "Get out of my room," and that's like what it does. Where it's good on every map with a well, right? With a coast, with a well where people can fall off, you can boop them into it. They will hate you for it, and that's good. But really, you should use it to make everyone's life harder. Like the flankers and tanks that are trying to get into your team, just move them away. Like there's a Winston jumping, you just whip him in the face. He just drops down. Same for D.Va, same for Reaper, Genji, and like every other hero. Whatever comes too close to you, you don't want it there, just remove it. You know, like say, go away.
Yeah, Brigitte the Space Maker.
Yes, and that's like how you use it. But there's like 2 tricks you can do with it. And first of all, it triggers your passive heal. That's really important. Like when you use that whip shot, oftentimes when they don't have snipers, just use it to refresh your healing buff, right? Use it to refresh your healing buff because you can often not go into melee and just hit someone. It doesn't work like that. Like when you're in medium range, whip shot them, you will heal your team. That's how I do it. But don't do it when there's like Malkarii or Widowmaker just really focusing on you, because then if you whip shot, it puts you into an animation where you drop your shield and you will take like 200 HP damage. Like I died so often from that, and I was like, oh my god.
What are you doing, Arhath?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like I was doing it 3 times in a row. Like I was just like, okay, just whip shot them, yeah, easy, and then just get headshotted. Like, oh my god. So, but when we have a Reinhardt, you can do it all the time. I will do it all the time. I will camp right behind the Reinhardt and just abuse it. I will just try to hit every 3 seconds. I will just try to whip someone in the face until they actually come to me, and then I will save it. Because like when they get mad about it, or just in general want to attack, I want it for a real situation, not just for like poke damage. Yeah. Maybe on a Genji that tries to like be funny. That's like you can make him stop like easily with that. So the thing is, her ulti, like, I mean, I talked about it, right? Like, I think it's best to just use it when the fight starts. But there's another situation I want to elaborate on, and that's like when you are in 1-on-1 to 3-on-3 situations. Because in these situations, I use my ulti a lot of times to just win the fight. Because I know if they don't have a strong ultimate, or in general, like two strong heroes, my ultimate will win the fight straight out. So I will just pop the rally in 1-on-1, 2-on-2, or 3-on-3 situations that I absolutely have to win. Maybe it's overtime. Maybe it's just like, 1 minute, and if we lose now, the team will go to tilt mode or panic because like they're like, oh, 1 minute, it's so less time, and then I have to win this. So I will just pop the Brigitte ulti, fight with my team in these small fights, we win it, and then it's like, you will build it fast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Another thing to mention about the shield bash, I don't think we mentioned this yet, is that it can cancel other people's skills and their ultimate abilities.
Absolutely, yeah.
That is so useful. Like, yeah.
If you want to I think the best ultis to hit with it is like Roadhog. Roadhog, if he lets you get close to him. Sometimes Malkarii, but that's really rare. Like you have to surprise him. But the best, the one I'm always trying to cancel is Moira. Actually, Moira is going with the beam. Yeah, Moira is going with her beam ulti, and if you can sneak to her, you will see she will run away because she knows like if she gets too close, she will just back off a bit. But if you can really sneak up to her, you just bash her, and she knows she just wasted her ulti, and you like we really want that trait in that situation.
Yeah, and Moira's ulti can be quite powerful, so yeah, it's good to be able to cancel it.
Okay, so what we didn't talk about, that's I mean you said it 2 times, right? With a shield bash you can use that a movement tool, right? Like
Yeah.
you can use the shield bash to jump over gaps, but there's also like a lot of hidden spots on the map. There's a lot of spots like this on Hanamura. Some on Dorado, some on Junkertown. That's what you have to YouTube, like Brigitte shortcuts, I think. That's a good thing to search. You can use the shield bash on angled surfaces, and you will jump up. You will jump up into air, because like the surface, you hit it, and then you do a really big jump, and you can land on like places you shouldn't be supposed to land. And that's on some maps, it's really, really good to use that.
Yeah, there's some spots on like Anubis even, for example. Yeah, there's some good spots.
So that's like to be honest, that's the routine I'm usually doing, like with Brigitte, to be honest. Like the more advanced things actually focus on you knowing what they will have in advance. Like there's for example, what Brigitte can do, what no other hero really can do in the support section, is stalling the point, right? And that's something really important. I always tell people, I mean, have you ever lost, like, you defended the game for, like, let's say 5 or 6 minutes, and then in the last second you actually lost the game? I think you know that, right?
Yes, it's frustrating.
Yeah, everyone knows that. And that happens a lot. Like, that happens a lot at every rank. It happens that in the last minute, the enemy team somehow manages to overthrow you, and you're going into the next round. Maybe you lost the map, maybe you go into the next round. That happens. And how you can avoid that? I want to give some tips, because that can be pretty easy sometimes. The reason why a lot of people, including me, lose these fights is because you don't mentally prepare for it. Like, the enemy team sees it's 1 minute left, right? It's 1 minute left. We only, like, 40 seconds. We only have one more push. So their whole mentality changes. Like, every troll stops trolling. They all come together, and they will do one thing. They will rush onto the point. They will rush onto the point and try to capture it. And most of the time, they never do that in the rest of the game. Like, in the rest of the game, they try to go around. Maybe a sniper tries to get the pick. But now it's 40 seconds left. Every one of them will rush onto the point, use all of their ultis, and suddenly they play together because they have a single goal in mind. And that's why a lot of times you lose the defense in that situation. What you can do to counter that is be prepared. Like, be mentally prepared for it. And that means just know what they want to do, right? You know they want to get onto the point. So instead of closing up an entrance that they won't use anyways, like maybe it's a map like Hanamura where there's a lot of entrances. They will just come to the middle oftentimes, So instead of focusing on the top left door, just search for the enemy team, scout ahead, see where they are coming, and be prepared. And Brigitte is excellent at doing that, because you can stand at the doorway, shielding the wall. You hold your shield up, you're standing at the wall, and you go into this third-person perspective, right? And with that third-person perspective, you can peek around windows, corners, and you can see where they come from, and they cannot see you. So you basically can prepare for that a lot better.
Yep.
And then what I do is, I will tell my team in voice chat, I'm holding the point. And then I go onto the point, I let them stay onto the high ground, I let them defend the point, and I will just stall the enemy team, right? Like, fall back in the last corner of the point, and just chill there. Because as long as I'm staying there, they cannot capture the point. If my team has the high ground defense, and they are now mindlessly rushed onto the point, my team will win. Because, like, even if I just survive for 10 seconds, and that's oftentimes easy, because like Anna or someone else will heal you, you can just run away if you have to and give them some ticks on the point and then just come back later. But you will stall so long that it's just straight out wins the game oftentimes. So that's a little trick that you can do.
Oh yeah, Bree is a great staller. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a really huge tip though, the mentioning about being able to put the shield up, be in third person, peek around corners. And that is huge. And you can use that a lot and communicate with your teams where you see people coming. That's a huge skill to use. A lot of people don't realize that you can do that. She's a good scouter. And the other team will not see you at all. It's just your positioning and you being in third person. Yes. It's magical. And a lot of people forget. I forget to do that a lot. I know I can. I just forget to. It's a good skill to have. It's a good skill to have. And again, and I say this every episode, communicate with your team. Even if it's just like, it's like competitive 100% of the time, but even in like quick play, it is good to communicate, and then you can practice communication in quick play. But competitive, if you're doing competitive and you're not willing to communicate with your team or get in voice chat, you don't need yourself to speak. Even if you can just hear them and you can like type to them, just be able to hear what they're saying. Communication is key to success. Yeah. As always, if you have two teams that are identical in skill, the team that's talking to each other is always going to win versus the team that's just kind of not coordinating, not just doing their own thing every
100%.
time. 100%.
The thing is, I think even if you don't like to communicate, like maybe you're a bit tired, like you just played some games, but you still want to play one more ranked game, and you're not actively communicating. There's also passive communication, right? Passive communication is at least read the chat and listen to what they say, and that's like the minimum amount of communication I do in every game is like in the picking phase, because that's really important. A lot of games get tilted in the first few seconds of the game because someone is picking Reinhardt, or let's say nobody's picking Reinhardt, and then you are forced onto the Reinhardt and you cannot play him. Then you sometimes pick something else, or you pick the Reinhardt and perform better on it. What I would do in this situation is tell your team that you cannot play the Reinhardt. That's really important. If there's no Reinhardt, but your team absolutely needs one, just write, I cannot play Reinhardt, I can play XXX. Like, I can play Brigitte, I can play Lucio, like, just tell them what you're up to. And then maybe your support is like, oh, okay, take the support slot, I will play Reinhardt. And that's like, that saves a lot of games. Because like, not only is the team composition better, but also there's no tilting around, and you don't get tilted because you're on a hero that you cannot actually play. Because don't forget, Overwatch, there's like so many heroes right now, and there's so many good players on every role. Like, even if they have just 200 hours and you have no hour, you cannot play that hero, right? So don't try to flex on stuff that you know you cannot play. Just tell your team you cannot play it, and make them like either pick it and you pick something else, or just work around it.
Yeah, that is huge. If like, for example, if you're playing with someone and you hear them say, "Hey, I have no idea how to play this character. I'm willing to do it if I have to, but I really don't know how to play it," you're more likely to be like, you know what, I kind of know how to play it better. Like, I have some hours on it. Let's trade roles. Like, rather than just being silent or getting angry and being like, F this, F that, I'm gonna just sit in this corner with Genji. I'm not going to play Reinhardt. I refuse to. Like, tell them why. Just be honest. Say, hey, I don't know how to play this character. This isn't my guy. I'm willing to do this, and this. Like you said, but you just communicate. Don't just get frustrated from the gate. Don't just auto-lock that one character and like stick your fingers in your ears, close your eyes, and refuse to switch if need be. But like, just think about it. Do you want a teammate that has no idea what they're doing, or would you prefer to switch to a role that might not be your favorite role, but at least you understand the character and have that other person play a role that they're confident in? Like, work together and communicate.
Go
ahead. No, I was going to change topic, so you go ahead.
Are there any questions like in the chat?
Oh yeah, there is. So Dicebard is asking, does Brigitte's shield block the same things that Ryan says, and or what are the differences in the shield between the two of them?
Okay, so the only real difference between the shields is that Brigitte has a much smaller shield, right? Like, it blocks the same stuff that Ryan's shield would do, but it's much smaller. So there's like, I have some counterplay tips against Brigitte. For example, if you're playing Pharah or Junkrat, instead of hitting the shield, you shoot at the sides of the shield, and Brigitte takes damage. Like, that's the main difference to Reinhardt's shield. With Reinhardt, it's so big you cannot do that. But with Brigitte's shield, a lot of times you can just shoot with explosive weapons. You shoot at the side of the shield, and she will take damage. That's sometimes a good counterplay, especially when she's kiting with 20 HP. Yeah,
that's a great tip. And then another question is from Zanarkan: how do you feel about people who can't pick a hero, like they jump from one hero to the other after every death? Oh man.
Okay. That's a hard one. Okay, first of all, if it's your DPS, you're either lucky or really, really, really doomed at that point. Because first of all, it's not bad to swap, but usually that's a sign of them not knowing what to do right now, right? Like, they are not comfortable on the role. Either your team or they themselves put them into a role where they cannot really play it, and they're just trying like, oh, my Ana isn't good, maybe my Zenyatta works. Nah, it's not good either. Oh, I will go Lucio. And then they are like, oh no, we don't need Lucio. Like, now the healing is too weak. And it's like, holy shit. In this situation, just try to communicate with them. Like, there's no really how you feel about it. It's most of the times it's bad. Like, the only situation where it actually is good is after you use your ulti, right? Like, if it's a Genji, for example, he used his ulti. He knows he doesn't have his ulti. He will swap to another hero. But now the enemy team swapped, and he now needs to swap again. Like, that's a valid situation where you can multiple times swap a carry, because like, you just got, you use your ulti, you maybe died, they countered you, you need to swap again. But other than that, I would say you're wasting too much ulti percentage, and you should ask them if they're like, just ask them if they are right. Like, do they want to play a different role? Maybe like if you are stuck on the tank role but can also play DPS and they are DPS, ask them if they want to be tank or support. Like just that's the only thing you can do really.
Yeah, just communicate them, like to ask them, why are you switching to a new hero every 5 seconds? What is your goal here? What can we do to help you? Like, what is there a specific, am I on a hero that you want to play? Like, I'd rather you play this hero than swapping and wasting your like ultimate and all this all the time. Communicate with them, to ask them instead. But yelling at them, cussing at them, getting mad at them, those types of reactions are not going to get a positive reaction from them. They're just going to ignore you and keep doing what they're doing, which is wrong. It's not great to keep swapping like that unless it's situational. So be nice about it. Just be like, hey, what can we do to support you, help you? What is it that you're doing? And let's work together better as a team.
Also, I want to tell a short story about, like, I met a soldier in ranked on Anubis, and he was playing soldier, and it was like I wasn't in a good mood that day because I lost some stupid, like weird games, and I was like really mad at him because he kept playing soldier into like double shield, like Orisa Reinhardt compositions where he can absolutely do nothing, and I was like, oh my god, he's drawing. What is he doing? In my head, after the match, I was yelling in chat like, swap off the soldier, like. I was telling him, like, swap off the soldier, please, swap off the soldier. And he was like, oh, after the match, he was like, oh man, you could have said that earlier. And I was like, I was thinking that he was doing that intentionally, like I was thinking he was picking soldier intentionally to troll the game, but instead he didn't know better, he didn't know better. And I obviously saw, like, in this situation, just take a Junkrat or anything, like take a Junkrat. We have much more spam damage. Soldier does nothing here. And I should have just told him that he would have swapped. But instead I was thinking, oh, he's a troll. I yelled at him. We trolled the game, but I was like, oh my god, yeah, I just having a bad mood myself today. Like, and that's a really good tip. If you know someone performed good on a certain hero and they swap it off for no reason, because that happens a lot, especially in lower ranks, I see people sabotage their own gameplay. Like, I play Pharaoh Mercy and it worked great. But on the next round, someone takes my DPS spot and I'm like, why would you do that? Like, this Pharaoh Mercy that we just played, it won us the game, and now you're going DPS, and you just that's like self-sabotage what they're doing. And in this situation, instead of yelling at them, I always say like, bro, go back to tank. You did a great job. I got this. Like, let me go Pharaoh again. We need this. If he doesn't cooperate, I'm often swapping on tank myself and saying like, why? Or I'm just staying Pharaoh and say, okay, we play triple DPS. But that's like, except that sometimes, especially on the lower MMR brackets, people are self-sabotaging and trolling. And the only thing you can do against that is like, sometimes give them advice, sometimes ignore them, because like not everyone is willing to communicate with you, but you can try at least. And if they don't listen well, then let's say, okay, we just play this game. Maybe next game is going to be better anyways.
Yeah, when it comes to giving advice, like if you're barking orders at them, if you're demanding, hey, get off that Genji, switch to this, like they'll be less receptive instead of being like, hey, can I recommend something? Or would you like a tip? Or, hey, I know something that could help us improve. Like, approach it in a nicer, softer way instead of just saying, hey, you, switch, you're bad, like whatever. You're not going to get a good response from that. They're going to get defensive. And in a lot of cases, the response in defensiveness will just be like, screw this, I'm going to stay on this here because now I know that annoys you. I'm going to stay here and keep annoying you. Yeah. Like you said, and then the lower MMR, the lower, like, the bronze, silver, gold, people might not realize what a good counter for a fair is. They might not realize like the hero they're on isn't effective against those double shields. Like, so just saying, hey, here's a suggestion, but demanding them to do something, it's not going to be received well. But if you suggest something, or you be, like one time I was playing with a Reinhardt, and I asked him like, hey, do you want a fun Reinhardt tip? And he's like, yeah, sure. What's up? I'm like, did you know that if you have your shield up and then you press your other mouse button, you can actually look around you, look behind you and whatnot. And he was so happy at that feedback because during the match, we saw him just like randomly just like turning and looking around because he was trying to be, he was trying to be aware. But when he was turning, like his shield would turn with him. He would like unprotect himself all the time. So instead of me just saying, hey, Reinhardt, stop doing that, I said, hey, fun tip, did you know, blah, blah, blah. And like, he was so thankful and appreciative. He's like, oh, this is really cool. So yeah, just approach things in a helpful way, not in a demanding way, and you'll get a better response every time. And
if you, like, this is a good example. If you know they're obviously doing something wrong that have the answer to, give them that answer. Like, if it's a short one, if it's like 10-hour, like you have to write about it, then like forget it. Like, leave it for next game. But if it's a really short tip you can give them, just give the tip to them. Like, like I said, I think in the last episode, like on EU servers, people are less likely to communicate actually, like because not everyone is speaking English, so we have to deal a lot more with like non-talkers and stuff. Like I'm not talking sometimes myself, and so it's a bit of a different atmosphere. But I can say, if you're willing to do like the at least say hello to your team in the start. I always do that. I always say like hello, like something like this, just to light the mood a bit. And then what I will do the most important shoutouts. Like when I see a situation where my team will obviously die if they have no, like if they are not aware of it, like the Graviton search is coming maybe, I will just call it in chat. Like even if I'm not talking at all, I will just say, oh, careful, Graviton coming, you know, like, and they will most likely spread out. And you know, that often saves team fights just there.
Yeah, well, even with language barriers, I'm assuming like all the abilities and heroes are the same name. So when you say that ability or that hero, they'll know that what you're referring to. And generally, players are smart to realize, okay, oh, Graviton, I know what that means. I need to go away. So definitely, even with language barriers, you can still communicate. You can always communicate. And Zan, that Reinhardt tip, it's really helpful. You can have your shield up in front of you and fully look behind you without moving your character. It is like the best way to be aware. Because on Reinhardt, like a huge issue is like you have the shield up and all you can see is like a big shield in front of you, your character, but you don't know what's happening behind you. Just look behind without turning your body and protecting yourself.
Yeah.
But always be gentle with advice. That's always the best response. You'll get the best response from that instead of barking orders, demanding passive-aggressive tones. And you know what? I was a raid leader in World of Warcraft for 10 years. So I had 10 years of dealing with people that frustrated me to no end. And thankfully, because of that time spent doing that, I have learned how to keep frustration out of my voice. When all I want to do is scream and yell and tell them they're being dumb, I've learned, because of all my years doing that, to keep that down and exude nice words in a nice tone, not a passive-aggressive tone, not a hostile tone, but just really nice, hey, this is what you did wrong, here's how you can do better, but you did that part really well. Like always, when you're giving criticism, always give like a good, like a little, give them a compliment, give them criticism, but don't just you bark at them saying, hey, you're bad for doing this, do better. People don't like being attacked. I don't like being attacked. I'll get defensive. Just that's the general like human response, is getting defensive when you feel like you're being attacked. So keep that frustrated tone of your voice. Don't do passive aggressive remarks. Even if you say it in the nicest tone possible, passive aggressive is passive aggressive, and it's frustrating when someone's being passive aggressive towards you. Don't do that. Like it would be nice if you had your shield up. Like that's not helpful.
if we can do that, that's actually the best way. I have to say, sometimes what I don't do is I don't want to flame them. Like I sometimes yell at them, but not in the voice chat. I yell at my own like people in chat. You know, like silent yell. I'm like, oh my god, what is like the like, you know, I'm just yelling it in the private voice chat basically, so they don't hear it. I'm like, they don't need to hear that. I just want to, you know, like I just want to
let it out. Yeah, and I do the same thing. Yeah, like, I have push to talk on, and like I will like vent to myself. Or if I'm streaming while I'm playing and this person's really frustrating me, I like to my stream I'll be like, oh, this person is just so bad, but I won't say it to them because that's not going to be beneficial. It's going to hurt their feelings.
Just lose the game because of that. Yeah.
Exactly. So just don't push the mic button, and you can say whatever you want. Don't say it to them though. Keep it out of the game. Scream into the void, as Empress Larissa says. Yes. You have to let it out somewhere, especially with like raid leading World of Warcraft. Like you have to let it out, or you're going to explode.
Absolutely, that's right. So.
Man, so having another issue, Arhath, where we're just talking forever and ever, and I know we could keep going, and that's why I love having you as a guest. So if anyone else in chat has any final questions, now it's time to ask them. I do need to start wrapping up the episode. So get those questions in. Any final tips you have? Actually, I have a question. Oh, yeah, here. I thought about it earlier, then I forgot, but now I remembered it. If you are a Brigitte playing against an enemy Brigitte, like, do you have any tips on how to handle that situation?
Yes.
Yeah. Lay it out.
Okay, it's pretty easy. There's two things. When you have ulti and she doesn't have ulti, you will win the 1-on-1. That's important. If there's like a small skirmish, she's alive, you're alive, you have ulti, you will win. That's first of all, that's how it works.
Yep.
The second thing is, usually try to see what she's doing. If she's too passive, you cannot do anything about it, right? She's just staying there, you're just staying here. It's like, okay, you just avoid each other. But yes, but the big but is, if she tries to be aggressive, you can topple her. It's like, you know, this game where you put your hand and then someone puts your hand and you put your hand on top of that. You know,
I
like
love
this
that
game.
game.
It's the exact same principle with this. Because like if she stuns someone, okay, if it's your Reinhardt, you might have a big problem actually. But if it's anyone else, like it's anyone else that's like not 100% vital for the team, but even your Reinhardt, she stuns him, you stun her back, she will most likely die because you're not CC'd. You can use your shield to protect whoever she just stunned. The guy she just stunned will start shooting at her, and she will most likely be dead. And that's like the topple principle. Like try to catch her. Like either intercept her. Like if she tries to go too aggressive, you just stand there and block her because that also puts her out of position. You are still in position. Or if she really makes a move, like she tries to someone, you just stun her back. That's like how I approach it things.
I love that analogy of like the hand game. That's exactly perfect. And I still play that game, but I'm sure we all do. Everyone knows that game, right?
Yes.
All right.
The only situation where that doesn't work is when the enemy Reinhardt wants to shatter and he's telling her Brigitte, his Brigitte, oh, stun the Reinhardt. That's a bit harder with last patch, but it still works. Then a Brigitte will walk up to your Reinhardt. If you let him stun your Reinhardt, like then you need to be faster. You know, like you just need to intercept her because if she stuns the Reinhardt, the enemy will hammer. And most likely, even if you can shield, 3 or 4 of your teammates will be stunned, like, or two, at least 2 of you guys will be stunned, and that's a bad situation. Like you cannot recover oftentimes.
That's a really good point. And then while we're waiting for the chance of any more questions popping up, there's something I need to ask you. I asked you during the Zarya episode, but I'm going to ask you for the Brigitte episode. Do you have a favorite Brigitte voice line, and are you willing or able to verbalize it for us in your best Brigitte impersonation?
I actually came prepared today because yes, I have a favorite voice line. And give me a bit of mental preparation. I will try to do it.
Okay.
It's the mace to the face. You know, like you can just stream it like that.
I love it.
That impersonation. But that's like what the character is all about, right? It's just this mace to the face principle.
I love it.
Whenever they have no skills, you put them in a one-on-one situation with yourself. It's just they will eat your mace until they die. That's like how the hero works.
Yeah. And then actually Xanarkin just typed out my favorite voice line is I love Team May. For the longest time, I actually didn't know what she was yelling because she says it so quickly. But yeah, I love T as well. So I love Team May. That's my favorite Brigitte voice line.
Oh my god, that's actually a funny one because like in German it sounds like exactly. It sounds exactly what she's saying actually because she's saying rally to me, like come to me. That's I think in Swedish. I think it's Swedish, right?
Yeah, she's Swedish.
Okay, so yeah, that's what she's saying. But in German, it sounds like exactly like that. And I was like, I love this voice lines. Like also Zarias, like when she's speaking Russian, or May when she's speaking Chinese, you miss her. You know, you miss her that that's something else, and then it just gets a running gag that someone is like screaming something else into the mic whenever it happens. Like.
Yeah, no, there's so many good voice lines and voice actors in this game. But thank you for coming prepared with your mace to the face. I love it. All right, on that note, I have an idea of who's going to be winning the sweet loot boxes. They've been here since the beginning of the stream. They've been popping in, participating, chatting, giving their own Brigitte insights and thoughts. So this week's loot box winner is, I'm going to do a little drum on my desk, is going to be Empress Lorsaurus. So hit me up on the Twitter, or I'm not sure if I have you on Discord. I don't think I do, but most likely the Twitter is the best way to reach me. I think I have to add you to my Battle Friends list, and then after 3 days, I can send you boxes because they have like a time limit on that. But I will get those boxes to you this week. And yeah, congratulations! Thank you for hanging out, Empress Lorosaurus, and being chatty and wonderful. I appreciate having you here. All right, on that note, Arhath, for those that weren't here at the beginning of the stream, I want you to plug yourself. Let me put your info back on screen where people can find you and what you do.
Yeah, so basically you can follow me on Arhath Go, like on Twitter, and I also have like a Twitch, YouTube that I will do some stuff from YouTube, but like I'm collaborating right now with some people. Like if you know Jane, for example, like the coach Jane, I'm collaborating on patch news analysis right now with him. So I don't know. That's like that's still like
that's cool.
It's more or less unofficial, but like I helped him do like the last video for him. So if you're interested in that, I will post something about it. So just follow me there, and yeah, of course follow Mark. Like if you haven't already, I think you have already.
Follow me at Malkarii underscore at the end because someone stole my Twitter name. Bless them. That's where I'm
Yeah.
found. But yeah, so guys, this is Arhath. He's a Grandmaster player. He plays a lot of tanky type heroes, and as you know, other heroes too. He's the coach for the Aztec Warriors Overwatch team in the EU area, and there's some top 10 players on his team. So it's great to have you back, Arhath. You're so knowledgeable, and maybe we'll have you back on again in some future episode. It's always a pleasure speaking to you.
we could do that on.
Yeah, you're so animated and you're so knowledgeable, and it's always enjoyable having it. And we've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes. Sometimes it's just flown by. It does not feel like we've been talking for over an hour. So some great information on Brigitte. I have learned some new things today. Hopefully, viewers, you've learned some new things today. And this video will be up forever on the BeLive official YouTube channel. So if you miss part of the episode, or you know a friend that could really benefit from the information here, and they weren't here for the stream, it will be up on the YouTube channel in a few days, hopefully with sometime this week. And you can just link them the video. And some great info here. All right, on that note.
Thanks for having me, right? And have a nice evening, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and guys, again, On the Point is every Sunday at noon Pacific time, at high noon. So I have no idea what next week's hero is going to be yet, but I am planning out, and we will announce that on Twitter shortly. So hopefully see you guys next week. And on that note, let me toss up our closing video, and I'll see you guys later. And remember to always get on the point.
Pump up the volume. Oh, this'll be good. I'll be watching over you.